The chamber was silent when Admiral Ethan Cross walked in. Not the polite silence of diplomacy. Not the reverent silence of ceremony. This was the silence of 200 alien species holding their breath, watching a human enter the grand hall of the Galactic Council, and wondering if they had made a catastrophic mistake. High Counselor Kael Veyron sat at the curved apex of the council dais, his four luminescent eyes fixed on the approaching human with the practiced stillness of a predator pretending to be patient. The Veyronite was ancient, 700 years by human count, and in all those centuries, he had never once doubted the council's authority. Until now. Admiral Cross, Kael Veyron said, his translated voice smooth as polished obsidian. You have been summoned to answer for humanity's continued violation of the armament accords. Ethan Cross stopped walking. He was not a tall man by Earth standards. He was not imposing in the traditional sense. He wore no decorations on his uniform, no medals, no rank insignia beyond a single silver bar at his collar. He carried nothing in his hands. And yet every creature in that hall felt, instinctively and uncomfortably, that he was the most dangerous thing in the room. I'm aware of why I was summoned, Cross said. His voice was flat. Not hostile. Just flat, the way a mountain is flat. Unmoved. Unmovable. The Council banned electromagnetic rail-based projectile systems from human vessels effective 3 months ago. I'm here to confirm compliance. A ripple moved through the assembled delegates. The Karathi representative, a thing of clicking mandibles and compound eyes, leaned forward. Confirm compliance? Your fleet departed Kepler Station armed, Admiral. Our scouts recorded the energy signatures. Yes, Cross agreed. We departed armed. We're always armed. You banned railguns. We complied. We removed every railgun from every vessel in the Terran Expeditionary Fleet. He paused. We replaced them with something else. The silence returned. Heavier this time. Kael Veyron's luminescent eyes narrowed. What did you replace them with? Cross reached into his breast pocket and placed a single data chip on the floor in front of him, not offering it, just setting it down, the way you might set down a grenade with the pin still in. Coil gun arrays, he said. Technically, a coil gun is not a railgun. It uses electromagnetic induction through sequential solenoid rings rather than rail conductors. The Council's legal team was very specific in their wording. Rail-based projectile systems. Our lawyers spent about 40 minutes finding the gap. Another ripple through the delegates. Louder this time. That is sophistry, the Karathi hissed. The spirit of the accord. Banned railguns, Cross said. The spirit of the accord, as written by your legal teams, banned railguns. We honored that. We went further, actually. We didn't just swap the drive mechanism. He paused for exactly 1 second. We rethought the ammunition. Kael Veyron stood slowly from his seat. In 700 years, no one had made him stand from his seat in alarm. Explain. Railguns fire conductive projectiles, Cross said. That's a limitation. The round has to be metal, has to conduct electricity, has to survive the rail contact. Coil guns don't have that restriction. You can fire anything that has ferromagnetic properties, or anything encased in a ferromagnetic sleeve. He looked up at the High Counselor with something that wasn't quite a smile. We started with tungsten-encased frozen hydrogen rods. Hypervelocity impact, zero residue, the round sublimes on contact. Leaves no recoverable evidence of the projectile. Just a hole. Another pause. Then our engineers got creative. How creative, Kael Veyron said. It wasn't a question. We have a round we're calling the Whisper, Cross said. Ceramic outer sleeve, internal cavity filled with self-expanding metallic foam pre-treated with thermite compound. At impact, the ceramic shatters, the foam expands through the breach in the hull, and the thermite ignites from atmospheric oxygen contact. It burns at approximately 2,500 degrees Celsius. You can't extinguish it with conventional suppression systems because it carries its own oxidizer. He let that land. We also have a round called the Echo. It's inert on impact, actually it bounces. It's designed to ricochet off interior hull surfaces at precise angles, calculated by the firing solution before launch, until it strikes the target's reactor coolant housing. He tilted his head slightly. We lost 3 prototype bays figuring out the geometry. That was 6 months ago. We've since improved. The Karathi delegate had gone very still. There is also, Cross continued, and his voice had not changed in pitch or tone even once, a variant we don't have a name for yet. The engineers just call it the problem. It's a coilgun delivered package containing a compressed data spike designed to interface with any computer system that uses quantum lattice architecture. Which is, he looked around the room slowly, most of your ships. On impact with any electromagnetic permeable surface, it detonates electromagnetically rather than physically, broadcasting a virus that has a 73% success rate of achieving command-level access within 4 seconds. We haven't deployed it yet. We wanted to see if today's meeting would be necessary first. Kale Veron had not sat back down. Admiral Cross, he said, very carefully. Are you threatening the Galactic Council? No, Cross said. And the flatness of that single syllable was more convincing than any oath. I'm explaining to the Council what compliance looks like. You told us no railguns. We said fine. You didn't tell us no coilguns, no ceramic rounds, no thermite foam, no ricocheting geometry shells, no electromagnetic data spikes. You told us no railguns. He finally picked the data chip up from the floor. I brought documentation confirming every railgun in the Terran fleet has been decommissioned, disassembled, and the components recycled. We are in full compliance with the armament accords. He set the chip on the edge of the nearest delegate's table, not Kale Veron's. Just the nearest one. We always comply. The Myra T delegate, a species known across 12 sectors for their unshakable composure, was visibly trembling. Why, Kale Veron said slowly, do you do this? Every time we attempt to limit the danger humanity poses, you find another path. Every treaty, every accord, every restriction, you treat them as puzzles. Cross looked at him for a long moment. Because, he said, every time you try to limit us, it's not because you want peace. It's because you want us limited. There's a difference. He straightened his collar, not because it needed straightening, but because it was something to do with his hands while he chose his next words. Humanity has been a member of this council for 30 years. In those 30 years, we have fought in 7 conflicts on behalf of member species, including 4 who voted for this ban. We have never started a war. We have ended several. He looked around the chamber. The railgun ban passed with 163 votes. 68 of those votes came from species whose planets we defended with those same railguns. So when you ask why we treat restrictions as puzzles, it's because the alternative is treating them as cages. And we don't do well in cages. The chamber was silent again. Kale Veron looked at the human for a very long time. 700 years of reading species, of understanding power, of knowing when something was genuinely dangerous versus merely appearing so. He sat back down. The Council, he said slowly, will review the current wording of the armament accords. We'd appreciate that, Cross said. We'd also appreciate being consulted during the drafting process. We're very good at finding gaps. For the first time, something moved at the corner of his mouth. Not a smile. Something quieter. We'd rather help you close them. He turned and walked toward the exit. Behind him, 200 delegates of 200 species sat in silence, doing the same calculation, running through their treaty language, their accords, their conventions, asking themselves what else they might have left open. Asking themselves what else humanity had already built. The doors closed behind Admiral Ethan Cross with a soft, definitive sound. Somewhere in orbit, the Terran Expeditionary Fleet held its position. Compliant. Patient. Armed.